All right, watch this video
Should be
to the
proud of
end.
your African roots. You should be proud to represent your African country. So don't treat us as a second option. We are not second options. I want the best players to play in Africa. So you rather make a decision and stand by it.
Yeah.
If you decide you want to play for England, stick to it. Sit and wait. If you don't get a call up, you don't get a call up. But don't wait until 29, 30, you've passed your best, whatever it is. Then you're, oh, Nigerian FA, I'm ready to play for you now. No, fuck off, like.
This is what Mikel said. Everybody was attacking him, and a lot of people was praising him too about this opinion of his. But what I thought on my own is what he said was not wrong. What he said was on point, and he come back to respond to people that was criticizing him and saying all sorts of things about the one he did right and the one he did wrong. Just watch the video to the end, and he addressed so many things about the wrongdoings in African Federation, in African Football Association, and all. So listen to the interview and tell me what you think on the comment section. Please, if you're first time here, please kindly like, share the video, comment your thoughts, so we can be able to be coming up with things like this. Watch the video to the end. Thank you very much.
And I want to touch on this to kick off this take in the Mikel, because you and I have had many conversations. It's all good and well saying that they shouldn't be second options, but African nations need to come to the party as well.
Of course they do. I mean, like I said, what I said back then, a few weeks ago, I still stand with what I said. There's no going back on that. I think, I think people need to understand this correctly. My stand back then was, if you make a decision of representing England, France, Germany, whatever it is, stick by it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to choose Africa. I'm saying you have the right, the freedom to choose whoever you want to play for, whoever you want to represent internationally. And whoever you choose, stick by it. But don't come back when you're 29, 30, when you pass your best, and say now you're ready to represent your African roots. I don't think that's right, and I think that's wrong. So that's my part where I stand with what I say.
Let's be clear on that.
Let's be clear on that, exactly.
For what it's worth, it means nothing to me, but I think you're absolutely spot on. I can understand the point that you're coming from.
It does, because obviously I want the best players in their prime to represent the African country, because that's what also improves the African football and makes it much, much better.
A lot of people have made the point, though, African countries, football associations, they have their own part to play in this, because, and you've told me many stories over the last couple of years, John, in order for that to happen, football associations need to create an environment that is, for want of a better word, world class.
World class needs to improve. I mean, the African Federation, I think that's where it comes down to it brings the conversation on a different perspective, because they have to do their part. They have to improve the standard of the facilities back home, in Africa, to make it a bit more professional. These players, if they decide that they want to represent Africa, they can come back to a very well looked after facility, a facility that's professional,
travel arrangements,
travel arrangement, flights, and other things like that, food, just little things that is so important to players. You know what I mean? When you finish playing, when you finish training, do you have your hydration water? Do you have your hydration protein shake? Things like that. Rehab. Things that get you back to recovery level as well. That makes you recover quicker, faster, and then you're ready to go again. So those are the little things that needs to improve. Facilities, travel, flight. Because obviously we can sit here and talk about that, for all day long. Just talk about it. When I represented my country, obviously, at the Olympic in Brazil, and we had to fly to Brazil, and we waited. We waited. The day we were supposed to fly, we waited from morning till night, waiting for a plane to take us to Brazil.
To Brazil.
There was no plane to take us to Brazil
because there was infighting behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Of who's going to pick up the tab.
Of who's going to pick up the tab. The FA didn't want to pick up the tab. The government, I think, the money was there. Maybe the money was released, but then the FA or whoever the money got into his hands refused to release the money. So we waited at the airport from morning till night. There was no flight to take us to Brazil. I had to pay for that flight to take us to Brazil.
The whole team?
Yeah. I had to get us to Brazil. And these are little things. Hotels sometimes, there's been a few times, where I sought out my hotel because, the hotel was that they've produced for us, provided for us, is so bad that you can't stay in it.
So you then had to move.
So then I have to move, or I had to move whatever, to make sure that the environment is well more conducive for players and for us to be able to make sure that we perform. And just these little things that that when you look at and you think, of course the players have the blame sometimes, because they don't want to represent the African roots. I get it, I understand it. You made your decisions, stick by it. But the FA, they need to fucking get their acts right. They need to make sure they get the right people who will run the federation. Because it's just about getting the right people to run the FA properly.
Yeah.
You have all this, all these men, sitting there that know nothing about football, never played the game, doesn't know how it feels, to be a footballer, doesn't know what it takes for a footballer to perform and be successful. They are just there because obviously they've been voted in. And then they have this power where they get the money from the government and they don't want to release it. They release maybe 10% of it, and then the rest is shared among them. And that's what takes the beauty out of it, because the players now don't get the well looked after environment in terms of facilities, in terms of flights, hotels, and things like that. And then the players suffer. And then when they don't perform, we scream and shout that they're not performing. But the things that led up to that as well should be looked at. And that's why I think the right people should be appointed. I think the players who's played the game, who's represented the country, I can talk about Nigeria now, who's represented the country, who's shed blood and tears for the country, should be appointed to run the Football Federation in Nigeria. Not just football as well, sports. I can talk about the likes of Kanu, J.J. Okocha. These people should be appointed. They've earned the right to be able to represent, to run football in Nigeria, because they know what it means to represent to represent Nigeria. So I think a lot of changes needs to be made. We need to make sure the corruption is cut out. Definitely the corruption should be cut out, because we don't need that in football in Nigeria.
John Obi Mikel's name on the ticket. You fancy it? I'm just putting it out there. Don't want to lose you on the podcast, John, but is John Obi Mikel the man to sort out maybe not just Nigerian football, I'm going to say African football? African football,
yeah. I mean, you can see it now. Samuel Eto'o is the president in Cameroon.
Cameroon, yeah.
It just shows that just little examples like that can change things. And I'm just saying that you need a team. Not just a John Obi Mikel, not just a J.J. Okocha, not just a Kanu. You need a team. You need a team of right people to be able to run the African football and get it to the standard where it should be. The standard whereby, I'm not saying to be perfect as it is here in Europe, but I mean, we way off it. We're miles off it we are.
And there was a bit of embarrassment. I know the Olympic Games has recently just come to a conclusion. Fantastic couple of weeks. Thoroughly enjoyed it on my holiday. But of course, you and I were swapping WhatsApps.
Yeah.
Nigeria, bit embarrassing. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah.
Favour Ofili, who was and is the fastest woman in Nigeria, missed out of the 100-metre registry list. She came 6th in the 200-metre. She should have been running the 100-metre.
Yeah.
And she wasn't, John. That's just embarrassing on the world stage.
That's embarrassing on the world stage, on the biggest stage, and that's so embarrassing. I think whoever that was his responsibility. Whoever he or she should be fired.
Yeah.
Should definitely be fired. I think the Nigerian FA, the Nigerian government should come out and make a statement that whoever the person was, he or her responsibility to make sure that she was registered for the 100 meters should be fired, because this poor girl for 4 years has shed tears, blood tears. And I know how it is for her back home in Nigeria. There's no finance. She doesn't get financed properly. She probably spent most of her money to make sure that she finances her training, her schedule, whatever she has to do to make sure that she gets herself ready in 4 years to compete in Paris. And somebody who's just sat there,
has dropped the ball.
Incompetent of he or her job, forgot to register her for the 100 meters. Somebody like that should let go. And it comes down again to
professionalism,
being professional and making sure that we improve our facilities, our sports in Africa, to make sure that the right people run